Hey guys, it's me, Ethan Johnson, and in today's video we're going to be covering the rabbit hole iceberg. This iceberg was posted to r/iceberg charts by user u/JimBowesTH. So, I guess if you want to see this iceberg in depth, go onto his Reddit and it'll be posted there. I'll have a link to the post itself in the description of this video, so if you want to check it out, you can. But there it is on the screen right now. In today's episode, we're only going to be covering layer 1 of the 8 layers I believe there is. So if you guys want to see more in-depth covering of any of the topics on this iceberg, or any of the other layers of this iceberg, just comment down below, and if it gets enough support, I might consider making a video specifically towards that topic. So yeah, I guess enjoy the video, and thanks for watching. Located on the border of California and Nevada, Death Valley National Park was designated in 1933 and is home to one of the world's strangest phenomena: rocks that move along the desert ground with no gravitational cause. Known as sailing stones, these rocks vary in size from a few ounces to hundreds of pounds. They seem to move with no intervention, as if they move themselves. Scientists believe this is from ice on the ground, and whenever the wind comes through, they slide along the ground on this layer of ice, and it causes the trail and for them to move. And as ice melts, just like that. And they can move up to 5 meters per minute. It was a 1991 code name for a secret U.S. Army unit established in 1978 at Fort Meade, Maryland, by the Defense Intelligence Agency, essentially the CIA, to investigate the potential for psychic phenomena in military and domestic intelligence applications. This project and its precursors and sister projects originally went by various code names: Gondola Wish, Grill Flame, Centralane, Project CF, Sunstreak, ScanNet. Those were all, different names until 1991, when they were all consolidated and re-christened into Stargate Project. They're all mixed together, and a little background on it: it was born in the 70s when the CIA thought the Soviets were researching psychotronics, which is what the CIA believed to be a sixth sense that would allow people to see objects without being anywhere close to them, like psychics. So, as a comeback to the Soviets, they decided to make Stargate, which was a team of people who could harness this sixth sense and help the government spy on their enemies. And as of today, they're supposedly shut down. From what I found, I think Meatsleep was an ARG that uploaded bizarre videos that led the viewer to believe they're seeing footage shot by a murderer, kidnapper, cannibal, or something like that. But about 5 years ago in 2016, all of the videos were deleted off of their channel, so now it's just, like a blank husk. Actually, they don't even have a PFP anymore, it's just like a white thing. The videos portrayed Meat as being a captor who was holding a woman hostage, and also had videos where he was stalking his potential victims. Also, every video had a strange title with varying languages and symbols as a title. And these videos were filled with fake adverts of products that allow him to do NSFW things to his victims. One of these was one of the ads said it was like this thing that would let you do whatever you want to your unsuspecting, female, whatever. And some of the viewers at the time thought that Meatsleep may have also been eating their victims, because in one video they were cooking some weird looking meat, and another one was just titled livestock. But they've been wiped off the internet because people were getting too much personal information on the cast. So they decided to shut it down because they thought it would be best and the safest option. On April 21st, 2018, an anonymous 4chan user posted this image in the X forum in their thread. And the thread read, "If you're not careful and you no-clip out of reality into the wrong areas, you'll end up in the backrooms, where it's nothing but the stink of old moist carpet, the madness of mono yellow, the endless background noise of fluorescent lights, and maximum hum buzz, and apparently 600 million square miles of randomly segmented empty rooms to be trapped in. God save you if you hear something wandering around nearby, because it sure as hell has heard you." It is said that there are a couple ways to access these backrooms, and these entrances include things like dreams, visions, and others claim that the real way to get into them is to no-clip through the world, and then you can reach the backrooms, which is kind of crazy. Supposedly there are 3 levels. The first level, which is level 0, is the one shown in this image, and it was also described in that text up there. Level 1 is the second one. It's more dangerous than 0, with concrete floors and walls, and you can hear these rumbling and creaking sounds. It also has more dangerous creatures, and level 2, which is the third one, is consistent of mostly long hallways with very loud and bright LEDs and very dangerous creatures and supposedly no escape. And your only chance to escape is to stay calm and believe that the backrooms are your new home, and then eventually you can no-clip back into the real world. Supposedly the Men in Black, or the MIB, are men dressed in black suits who claim to be quasi-government agents who harass, threaten, or sometimes even assassinate UFO witnesses to keep them quiet about what they have seen. Many UFO enthusiasts have reported having several run-ins with the Men in Black. They're essentially the deepest level of government cover-up there is, with, unidentified people, black suits, doing the government's bidding. Sounds like fun. So this one's here so you can understand some of the later stuff, but essentially quantum mechanics is a fundamental theory in physics that says that atoms, you can't really predict where they're going to be because they can do unlimited things. So atoms only move whenever observed or something like that, and it gets a little weirder whenever you apply it to things larger than atoms. Like, when does quantum mechanics stop? When do things stop being, quantum and start being objects? So things like Schrodinger's cat, those are quantum mechanics, because since it's not being observed, it is dead and alive. But we will get more into that on some of the later tiers. True crime is a type of entertainment that can be in any form, discussing the cases of real crimes that, actually happened. Most of the true crime stuff you will find will be about murder, with almost 40% of all true crime stuff out there being about serial killers. So if you have a fascination with some morbid stuff, go check it out. I'd recommend Crime Junkies if you like podcasts, but there's also TV shows like Forensic Files. This one is in the rabbit hole just like quantum mechanics, because it's kind of a building block, because some of the things on this iceberg are also true crime. So lucid dreaming is when you're aware you're dreaming. So at first this might sound dumb, but if you're aware you're dreaming and a dream is made up in your head, I'm sure you can see where this is going. You can control your dreams, leading you to be able to do, literally anything you want in these dreams. So I've never lucid dreamed before, so apparently some people claim that if you can lucid dream, you can affect things in the real world by doing these things in the dream, and you can also change your thought process, or talk to your subconscious mind or something like that. There's some crazy stuff connected to lucid dreaming that people say. So possibly in Michigan is a film project that's from the 80s that got popularized on YouTube and such, but I'll give you a little rundown of the plot. So Sharon, who's our protagonist, was stated of liking violent men. She is being followed by a man with a strange looking mask with like a wide open mouth while she was shopping for perfume with her friend. And after shopping, she's reminiscing about all her past partners, and at that moment she realized that she's being followed. So she hurries home and she sees that the man followed her home, and she tries to hide, but then the man breaks in and tries to force himself on Sharon, but right before he can, he is shot by Sharon's friend. And it's a twist. They begin to dismember this guy and turn him into a stew, afterwards throwing away his body and acting like nothing happened. So from the flashbacks while she was reminiscing, it can be gathered that she killed and ate another guy. And so some people also theorize that Sharon and her friend are lesbians. I didn't get that from the video, but some people think that, so that's also something cool, I guess. So on Amazon.com's Haribo Gummy Candy Golden Bears Gummy Candy 5-pound bag, there are several reviews that you wouldn't really expect. So if you go to the 1-star section, there are lots of reviews describing the battle that ensued on their toilets after consuming some of these gummies. So I did some research, and the reason these reviewers were left on the toilet all day is because of a sugar stand-in called Lycosin, and inside Lycosin there's another chemical called maltitol. I think I'm saying that right. And when some people consume maltitol, they have a reaction that essentially turns it into like this omega laxative, and it doesn't sound too nice the way it's described. So if you're not sure that you can eat them, I don't know if I'd recommend trying them. Heaven's Gate was a cult that led to 38 people taking their own lives in the mid-90s. They took their lives because their cult leader convinced them that doing so would allow them to reach a higher level of being. He named this Tela, which means the evolutionary level above human. So once they would reach Tela, they would be, living on a spacecraft flying through space. Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Needles, they were the leaders of this cult, and they convinced these people to take their lives, and they actually used the rise of the internet to drive their ideology and to grow their cult. Their members had to do some pretty crazy stuff, such as castrating themselves, giving up all possessions and relationships that make up everyday life. They believed God was an alien, that we are all living in the end times, that our bodies are only vehicles for our consciousness, and they believed that if they stayed on Earth, they'd have to battle these demons that they called Luciferians. Nosleep is a Reddit community where people can create and share their own horror stories. Their About tab states, Nosleep is a place for authors to share their original horror stories. I'm assuming this is on the list because of the abundance of stories. Like, there's so many, you could probably spend a whole lifetime reading just these stories. So, Gareth Williams, he was a man working for the MI6, was found dead in his London safe house apartment. His body was found inside a padlocked bag, which initially led investigators to state, foul play as the cause of death, obviously, but they later changed this, and his death is now considered unexplained. Not much about his work has been declassified, but it has been confirmed that he was helping the NSA track down money laundering routes used by organized crime groups all around the world. His body was found in a padlocked bag in his bathtub, and with the key inside the bag. And it gets stranger here because there's no sign of forced entry, fingerprints, or any sign that anyone other than Gareth was ever even home. The bag, the padlock, and the zipper of the bag had no fingerprints, and Gareth had no signs of alcohol or drugs in his system. The two running theories are that, one, he got himself into the bag and locked it, and then couldn't get out, or two, he was killed by the Russian mafia, or like the Russian CIA. And the reason people think he put himself in the bag is because before he locked himself in the bag or got locked in there, he visited bondage websites, and in one incident, he awoke his landlord screaming in the middle of the night because he had tied himself to the bed and couldn't get himself free. The other theory of the Russians is it's supported by a former KGB agent that defected to Britain and claimed the Russians had a hand in his death, but his story is kind of weird because some of the parts don't line up and some parts just don't make sense. So the SCP Foundation is a group focused on collecting, researching, and containing anomalies. Their motto is Secure, Contain, Protect, and on the center of their front page there is a warning stating that only qualified personnel are allowed to read the entries. There are thousands of SCPs, each with its own name, description, and story. Most of these SCPs are disturbing or strange, with a few outliers that some would label as wholesome. On every SCP's page, there are certain things blacked out, redacted, or expunged as well. The database was actually born from a 4chan post on the X board, and it was detailing SCP-173, and the thread was pretty short, but it was the spark that, eventually birthed the SCP universe that has touched so many people's hearts. Hamilton Howard Albert Fish was an American serial killer, child rapist, and cannibal. He was also known as the Gray Man, the Werewolf of Wisteria, the Brooklyn Vampire, the Moon Maniac, and the Boogeyman. So a little background on him. When he was a young boy, he was born to a mother with schizophrenia and his father died at age 5. He was sent to St. John's Orphanage where he was abused by the staff, and after a couple years of abuse he found himself enjoying it. And even stranger, he enjoyed watching others be abused. And he later stated that that place ruined his mind, and from this abuse he gained a love for pain, inflicting it on others, consuming bodily waste, and strangest of all, children. So at first he was only sexually assaulting, young men or children, but after some time he became interested in cannibalism and genital mutilation, and he also started hearing voices, and he was under the belief that these voices were apostles and that he was Christ reborn, which is kind of crazy. He also had a habit of sticking needles into his groin and leaving them in there, and he liked to soak cotton balls in lighter fluid, sticking them, up his rear end and then lighting them all on fire. He continued to abduct and rape children, but unlike before, he would torture, murder, and eat them. After his arrest, he claimed to have over 400 victims. And after his 10-day trial, he pled insanity, but the courts, they didn't care. The depravity of his actions made them feel like he needed the chair no matter what he had. There are millions of people visiting national parks across America each year, but unfortunately, there are the ones that go missing in these parks as well. Some are found quickly and easily, but others are never found again. Missing 411 is people questioning how these people miraculously disappear in these parks. It's a book series that documents and provides information on thousands of missing persons cases that span across several decades. These cases are linked by a set of bizarre circumstances that to some demonstrate a clear pattern. For example, in many cases of the victims, they seem to vanish in the thin air despite being accompanied by other people or, groups, and they're also unable to be tracked down by search dogs. Lots of people believe Missing 411 is the build-up to a massive discovery of something sinister and also widespread among these parts. The theories range from serial killers to aliens, paranormal beings, everything in between. You think there's probably a theory that it's causing Missing 411. Ring camera hackers refers to the several incidents of Ring security cameras being hacked and used to spy on and talk to the owner of said camera. The ones you'll see posted online are the good outcome of this situation, because an internet troll that's gonna just like yell at you or make fun of you through the camera, they don't have malicious intent besides, making fun of you. The ones you really want to worry about are the ones who are going to lurk in the shadows. They're not going to use the voice. They're just going to watch. You're never going to know. I believe people are probably able to hack into these because when some set them up, they don't enable all of the security functions, which allows people with, bad intentions to get in. And I'd recommend that if you have a Ring security camera, to make sure all the features are enabled and properly set up so you don't become a victim of, someone stalking you or maybe even verbally assaulting you. Chris Chan, aka Christine Weston Chandler, was an infamous internet troll who created Satie. Satie was a comic book series that is very hard to follow due to its long wording, the weird order of panels, and the misuse of words. Chris Chan's life was very childlike. He spent his days inside at his parents' house, playing with Legos, but also he attended a public college, I believe, and he had what he described as high-functioning autism. Satie is what he used as a way to express his fantasies, and whether that be making the mall cops that would kick him out of the mall with his love signs, or killing internet trolls in very violent ways, he did it on Satie. You see a random comment somewhere describing Captain Coochie's key lime pies. Sounds innocent enough, but that is until you look a little deeper and realize that there are hundreds, maybe even thousands, just like this comment. But the thing is, that pie doesn't exist. For the better part of a decade, a mystery poster has been adding comments to random sites, most notably recipes for key lime pie, or news sites, often on stories with, sexual elements. And these posts are rambling and bizarre screeds about a Key West themed restaurant run by one Captain Coochie and his wife Anita in North Carolina. At first it was thought to be a made up place, but things got weirder when it was discovered that these were real people who owned a restaurant like the one described in these posts. Theories abound, from it's an autistic former patron who's obsessed with these pies to Captain Coochie himself, and he has a reputation for his eccentricity, so maybe he's doing this as an advertising campaign. But there's also people who believe it's a bot that accidentally or maybe even was purposely programmed to just ramble about these pies, but no one really knows, and I don't know if we will ever truly find out. Red rooms have been talked about since the popularization of the deep web. It is described as a live stream that you can come across on the deep web that, if you pay up, lets you watch innocents be tortured and eventually killed. This is disturbing in itself, but it gets worse to think about who's actually paying to watch these things. Now, I don't mean to be like a party pooper or anything, but from my research, the Tor browser doesn't seem to have enough bandwidth to support full live streams, and on top of that, there has never been any way to actually find these red rooms, so I don't believe they're real. I think they're an urban legend. Planet 9 is a hypothetical planet that some astronomers speculate could exist in our solar system. They think it's there because some objects, past Neptune have a strange orbit that would suggest they're orbiting something else, but they still go around our sun. And this planet's supposed mass would be 5 to 10 times the mass of Earth, and it has an estimated orbit of 400 to 800 times, if it's being as 400 to 800 times as far away from the sun as Earth is. So take Earth's distance from the sun and multiply that by 800, and it could be that far away. Konstantin Batkin and Michael E. Brown, sorry Konstantin, butchered your name, suggested that Planet 9 could be the core of a giant planet that was ejected from its original orbit in like the genesis of our solar system. Others think this planet was stolen by our sun, like we were passing by another, solar system and we stole it. Maybe it was once a rogue planet that we caught recently, or it formed on a distant orbit, was pulled out by a different star, and then that star just kind of threw it our way. But as of today, this planet has not been found. It's all hypothetical. It may never be real. Who knows? In Russia, there's a game called Blue Whale, and to play, you just sign up, and an administrator will be assigned to you, and they'll give you tasks to complete for 50 days. And these tasks vary drastically, from like watching horror movies and waking up at strange times to harming and then eventually killing yourself. Now, although this sounds crazy, some believe it to actually have an impact on people. A Russian newspaper stated that this game took the lives of over 100 people. This paper might not be so trustworthy as some info came out on it, but even the police believe that this game is connected to a few suicides. I personally don't think anyone who's in their right mind would like kill themselves from playing some game online, but it may be a real danger to ones who may already be considering, taking their lives. So I don't think this game will make you kill yourself, but I still don't recommend you play it and give the administrators or whoever's running it, the entertainment of, you playing it. So, yeah, that's some crazy stuff. And to think that's only the first layer of 8. So, I guess, I'll be trying to make these maybe once a week. At least once every 2 weeks. I will have a new layer out, but I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I would also like to thank everyone who's recently been subscribing to me. I very quickly went from, like, in the last, like, January of this year, I was only at 27 subs, and now I'm at, like, right now I think 136, 137, so it's crazy how fast, my channel's been growing because of you guys, and I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and, I hope you guys enjoy the video, and, goodbye.